Greetings and salutations, world. I am the Bearded Con Man, and welcome to the first edition of Tales from the Con. Tales from the Con is going to be a series where I talk about my adventures or misadventures, however you want to look at it, at previous conventions throughout the years. And since Dragon Con in Atlanta, which is one of my absolute favorite conventions of all time, is currently going on during the time of this recording, I felt that it would be cool to talk about some of my favorite memories of previous Dragon Cons, since I unfortunately won't be there for the first time in 5 years. So let's start this series off with a bang, and let me tell you the story of the time I got to meet Charlie Cox, aka Matt Murdock, Daredevil, from Netflix's hit show. So it was last year's Dragon Con of 2016. Season 2 had just wrapped up, and everyone was just blown away by that story that we got to see unfold in the season 2 of the Netflix show. So Charlie Cox was at the top of my list of people that I wanted to meet. At this point in my convention experience, I'm a battle-hardened veteran. I know how to navigate, schedule things properly, and get in to be able to see what I want to see or get done and get out of there. Actually, that was the first thing I did of last year's Dragon Con, is I immediately went to Charlie Cox's line. I wanted to get that knocked right out of the way, and it worked very well in my favor because I believe it was Friday, if memory serves. And Friday is when people are still rolling into town, a lot of people are still at work, and I took full advantage of that. So I walk up to Charlie, I actually shake his hand and introduce myself, and we have a really cool, genuine conversation. I mean, I must have talked to him for a good 2.5, 3 minutes, and it wasn't forced. He didn't seem like he was irritated by me or anything like that. It was just a very cool, organic conversation. He complimented me on my shirt, which is actually the shirt that I was wearing that day. Of course, you know, if you're gonna meet Daredevil, you gotta represent. I mean, come on, that's just a given. So we talked about that. I told him, if you're not familiar, Charlie actually starred in one of my more favorite films actually in the past, Stardust, which was a fantasy adventure movie starring also Robert De Niro, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Claire Danes. He seemed genuinely surprised, and I not only knew what that movie was, but that reason alone made me excited for his casting, so he thanked me for that. We talked about the city, my love for Atlanta, why I was here, you know, how I was enjoying the con. I asked him how the con was treating him, and he talked about how he was just blown away by how cool the fans were and how gracious they all were. He couldn't believe it. This is actually what I got signed by Charlie. I'll show a picture of it just in case it's not showing up that well, but it's a picture of Daredevil. I believe it's from season 2 actually, and he said, you know, great to meet you, and signed his name underneath. It was a very surreal moment for me because I absolutely love the Daredevil show, and I was still, like I mentioned before, riding high after season 2 had just ended. So I kind of geeked out a little bit. Being able to meet Matt Murdock, Daredevil, it was just really cool. It's something I'll never forget because Charlie Cox was one of the coolest, most genuine celebrities I've ever met my entire life. So Charlie, if you ever see this, thank you again for that, man. I can't tell you how much that meant to me. And it was really cool, not only just getting to meet you and get something signed, but to have that moment where we actually got to have a genuine conversation. It's something I'll never forget, so thank you for that. Now, you would think that that's where the story ends, but actually it doesn't. I decided to go and do a photo op with Charlie, where, if you're not familiar, you actually have an option where celebrities also can get pictures taken with you, and it's like a professional backdrop and picture. And I decided, you know what, I'm gonna splurge this one time and get my picture taken with him. By the time I actually got through the line, it was way later in the day, I finally get through the line, I go through the curtain, and there's Charlie standing there, and something really unexpected happened. He looks at me and smiles, he's like, I met you earlier today. And let's just say, for the sake of this video, the Bearded Con Man, right? Blew me away, guys, and he had to have met hundreds of fans at this point. I met him way early in the day, and he not only recognized me, but remember my name. I was floored. I couldn't believe it. I was like, yeah, it's really good to see you. And he said the same, and we took the picture. And you could tell by the excitement on my face, It's not my best picture. I don't know what happened there, but number one, the bearded con man, of course, has a little bit of huskiness to him, but I definitely don't look like that. Not only that, but if you look at my forehead, it appears that I have a lump. And if you guys are seeing, there's no lump on my forehead anywhere. So I don't know what happened. If, you know, just in the sheer presence of the devil of Hell's Kitchen, I decided to pop horns of my own out of my head. But you can see the genuine joy on my face that I'm actually side by side with Charlie Cox taking a picture. It was fantastic. So we take the picture, he looks at me, shakes my hand and says, "It was great to see you again. Thanks for coming out, and it was nice talking to you earlier." And I said, "Same to you, man. Thank you again for this." It just was the coolest experience, guys. I can't even begin to express to you how awesome it was. And it's something, like I mentioned before, that I will never forget. Alright guys, well that's going to do it for this first edition of Tales from the Con. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, drop a like on this video and subscribe today. I have plenty of more stories to tell, so stay tuned for those in the future. Until then guys, I am the Bearded Con Man, and remember, Beard, be exceptional and rad dudes. We'll see you next time.